Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing fantastic out there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. Watch the Tobin and Leroy show weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We stream live on YouTube on the QAM YouTube page, Miami 560 WQAM. Always put the link in the description, and that'll take you there. So, you're wrapping up some thoughts on the weekend, which was, quite frankly, goosies on top of goosies. And Chris Bosh did a little bit of a media session with the European reporters that were there to cover the Goran Dragić final farewell game, Night of the Dragon. And Chris Bosh, always just a super thoughtful athlete, and always, pretty open and honest and vulnerable and underappreciated. It is an interesting thing. Like, these guys, and Chris gave some voice to this, just talking about how they weren't teammates long enough. They essentially got half a season together, maybe a year of knowing each other. But you talk about maybe two of the more underappreciated Heat players. And I think with now, Chris Bosh gets his flowers more because he is a champion. But, man, when he was in the thick of it in those big 3 years, man, everybody was looking at him being like, come on, is he good enough? Should they go in another direction? Will they trade? If they're going to trade somebody, that's going to be Chris Bosh? So Chris Bosh basically got none of the credit, but had to sacrifice the most, and revolutionized in a lot of ways that Spo, the way he used the big dude. It was such a thing. It's funny because we do this thing with Bam now, where it's it was Bam a center, it's Bam a power forward. And I'm sure Bam would rather be a power forward, essentially a 4, and that he wouldn't want to be in this system where he has to go bang with the biggest bigs. But when I tell you, the celebrations we used to have on sports radio and as Heat fans for these centers that they would bring in here, like Greg Oden, Eddie Curry, Eric Dampier, Big Z, and the only ones that ever turned out to really be anything of anything were Joel Anthony, Birdman, and then essentially when Eric Spoelstra just was like, you know what, Chris Bosh at the 5. That's what we're rolling with. And yeah, that was a sacrifice. That was a lot on Chris Bosh too. But then also had the fruition to come out and start, just had the silkiest jump shot. Just Chris Bosh's jumper was something to behold, but then when it came out to the 3-point line, it was an art, a beautiful thing. And I do think that there's a lot of Bam elements there. I think Bam is more of a terrifying defender than Chris was, and Chris Bosh was just more of a polished offensive player. Chris Bosh just had a purity in his scoring that Bam, I think, has really grinded to get to and has brought his game to. Whereas on the defensive side of things, I think Chris had to get a lot of those elements to be in Spo's system and do everything to anchor it all together. So, seeing him this weekend with the Goran Dragić thing was cool, because I think Goran is another guy who I do think is gonna, maybe he's getting his flowers now, but man, just felt like he was underappreciated when he was going through his Heat career and had things that just were out of his control. But man, Chris Bosh always has such a way with these words, and he talked about why he decided to play in the Goran Dragić game, and because he said he initially didn't want to. He didn't want to play in the game. And this is what CB told reporters.
Different. It's different, but anything for Goran. I didn't even want to play today. I wasn't going to play because I haven't played in so long, but I just wanted to be out there with him, celebrate his career. Everybody doesn't get a chance to do this. You don't get a farewell game. You don't even get a farewell sometimes. So to be here supporting Goran, it's been amazing.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I saw that quote for the first time yesterday from Euro Hoops, and it read a lot grimmer than it sounded when I saw the media session, but still, it's yeah, Everybody doesn't get a chance to do this. You don't get a farewell game. You don't even get a farewell sometimes. And you think about like Chris, man, the goodbye was rough. The goodbye was rough because it wasn't even just like, hey, the first scare was a scare, but he would say like the second one wasn't a scare. Like he felt normal and felt like, you know, like this was almost some kind of conspiracy against his career or something, right? And that the Heat wouldn't let him go out there, wouldn't risk it, and there was a lot of animosity there. It wasn't like this you know, this, oh, okay, the career's over and you know, we're looking out for the best. No, it wasn't like that. Like battles with doctors, you know, social media back and forths, media back and forths about, oh no, I found this guy, and you know, then there was a thought that the Heat were just trying to do it to get cap space. And you wish, and look, they eventually, you know, his retirement ceremony was really cool, and it was I think a beautiful thing when that all did happen. But it probably, you know, it's one of these things where it is good that Goran got to have this weekend where everybody came out there and his family's there, and you had this send off, and it was interesting today. Like Josh Richardson was at the game too. He did not play, but Jay Rich was talking about this on social media. Was doing some Q&As on the phone, doing some Q&A, I guess, when he was flying home. And he was asked about how was the weekend. He says, the weekend was super cool. Goran in Slovenia is like D Wade in Miami, and it was crazy to witness. And so, like, maybe that, like, you know, puts it around for some people. But, like, I remember the game where, like, Luka, and I think it was maybe Luka's, I don't remember if it was his rookie year or his second year. But, like, dude, all of Slovenia felt like they came to the AAA at that point, and the building was jumping of just all these people there to see Goran and Luka battle it out and have this fun matchup. And so, yeah, that was cool to see. He also said on Chris Bosh, he said, Chris Bosh, still hilarious, laughing, crying emoji, still calls me Rook with the side-eye emoji, which is adorable. Because yeah, that is his Rook. And Chris Bosh always like gave a healthy, like, almost a haze to the rookies, but like, yeah, always gave rookies a bit of a hard time. I remember there was one time where there was one game where they played the Knicks, and he was like asked about Kristaps Porzingis. He goes, "Oh, we get this, Porzingis. He's a rookie. Like, enough already. We get it." So I just you know, seeing this stuff with Chris Bosh this weekend definitely makes you want to go down the YouTube rabbit hole to see what his game was. But also, yeah, you wish like he got you wish a guy that talented. And I know he's gotten the Hall of Fame, he's gotten the banner, but there can't be enough Chris Bosh celebration with the Miami Heat organization for me. You know, that guy was such a great dude, and man, just a fun, you know, with the LeBron stuff. It was like, you know, it's the world against LeBron, and D Wade is ironclad because he's D Wade, but Chris Bosh was like, he was doing the video bombs, and it just was like a character on the court, but brought some like levity to all the seriousness of everybody saying the Miami Heat ruined basketball. And then and the other thing I appreciated about him too is when LeBron did end up going to Cleveland and going back to the Cavaliers, like Chris Bosh was about like, oh no, you're not gonna write us off. Like he like took the mantle of we're gonna sit here, we're gonna do big things. And it didn't work out for the Miami Heat because of health things out of their control, but I always appreciated that about Chris. You know, that he took that mantle in a lot of ways because it was too awkward for D Wade to do it. Like I think him and LeBron were too close, and it was weird. Like, it obviously was a weird situation because it ended up snowballing into what ended up happening, which was an emotional breakup because, you know, Pat just like couldn't let the LeBron thing go. And, you know, what's D Wade supposed to do? Like, he's supposed to like blow off his friends? No, those guys are like brothers. They're like they're that close. But also, you do need somebody to kind of be like, no, F the Cavs. We're going to do this. And I thought that Chris Bosh brought that element after the Big Three era was over. So it was, but that was a biting quote, man. I was like, damn, he's right. Sometimes you don't get a farewell, and you wish that it was more on your terms. So that's why it was such an awesome weekend for Goran Dragić. One other thing that J. Rich said, by the way, in his Q&A, somebody asked him his goals for the season, and his one goal, team health. And man, I know it's it feels like a cop-out, I think, in a lot of people's minds, because it's like, come on, you guys don't really think you're good enough healthy. But man, they were so hurt last year. And I do feel like this is just a summer that's going to get it feels like the vibes are a lot better this summer than they will be coming into this year. Tyler Herro posted today on social media. This could be a lyric. I'm old and lame, so I don't know. He says, don't get it confused. It's 90% grind and 10% talent, which is deep, because I always thought it was like 80-20, you know? So I was happy that Boy Wonder cleared that up for me. But again, if this is a lyric, I apologize. I don't have it in me. I might have to get it sent to the old playlist of what it might be, but certainly he's got to be thinking that too, right? Like, Tyler Herro has had like nothing but rotten luck when it comes to the injuries, especially the last 2 years with, stepping on feet and diving after loose balls. He's got to be in a lot of that sentiment with J. Rich. J. Rich was starting to play really well before that bad injury happened to him with the damn shoulder. And a healthy J. Rich, losing a Caleb Martin, you are going to need some of those guys at that point of the attack of what he can bring at certain times. I don't expect him to be like a key rotational guy at all points for this team, but there'll be certain matchups like a healthy J. Rich. You're going to need that from him for sure. And he also, I think, is I think he's a great locker room guy to have around too. Like, very close to Bam, kind of blends around everybody, and just a fascinating guy too. Like, he's, not a guy who is just defined by basketball, J. Rich. Like, I think he said it's like he wants to take improv classes and learn how to break dance. He already DJs. For NBA players go, like, just kind of feels like a regular dude who also plays basketball. Fascinating, fascinating character Josh Richardson is. But spot on, man. That would be a hell of a goal if he could reach that.